This is episode number 16, and let's talk about leveraging emotional intelligence while quarantining. Welcome to Alive by Design. My name is Blake Mallon, and we're here to bring you inspiring people, principles, and practices to help you wake up, move toward your meant to, and feel fully alive. Open your mind, and let's dive in. Hey guys, before you listen to the podcast, I just wanted to say I really appreciate you being here, and I'm super excited about this new quarantine conversation series. If you want to catch these episodes happening live, where you often can ask real-time questions or maybe even get featured on the show, make sure we're connected on Instagram at Blake Mallon and on my Facebook page, facebook.com/BlakeMallon.page, as I'd love to see you there. Love you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane, and enjoy the episode. So today's conversation, we're going to dive into emotional intelligence. Now, if I were to stop right there at just the words emotional intelligence, some of you have maybe never even heard those two words put together like that. It's not a common language. It's not a common phrase. It's not something that many of us are taught in our traditional upbringing. My definition of emotional intelligence, for me, emotional intelligence is being in control of all of our emotions and using them with positive intent to get the best outcome for everyone involved. Harnessing all of our emotions, the ones that maybe we would look at as positive and the ones maybe we look at as negative, the ones that sometimes are our strength and our weaknesses, sometimes the ones that move us forward and sometimes the ones that hold us back, right? All of our emotions are a part of us, but how do we not let our emotions control us, but be in control of our own emotions in a way that gets the best outcome, not just for ourself or our personal motive, but the best outcome for one another, each other, and everyone involved in a situation. I'm going to tell you guys, this is a topic that can change the way you get through quarantine. This is a topic that can change the way you receive the information every day that we're getting. This is a topic that'll change the way that maybe you're interacting with your family or your kids or your loved ones right now. This is a topic that'll change the way you're responding and adapting in your business. This is a topic, dare I say, that could change the way you live your life every day and elevate to a whole new level of living if it's a topic you choose to become a master of. You guys, I'll give you one tip before I bring on our first surprise guest of what I mean by emotional intelligence. Here's a principle to kick us off. To me, emotional intelligence is the ability to intentionally respond instead of emotionally react. You might want to write that one down. Emotional intelligence, someone with high emotional intelligence, is the ability to intentionally respond instead of emotionally react. How many of us have been guilty of emotionally reacting to something? You guys know exactly what I'm talking about, so don't pretend that you have no idea what I'm talking about, because we're all guilty of this, where we let our emotions, right, react and get the best of us. We let that little primitive part of our brain out there that gives us that fear response, fight, flight, or freeze, pull the trigger on our actions before we had a chance to actually process what we're about to do. It might be a text message, we fire a reply, right? Someone says something, we attack, right? Something happens and you react. How many of you guys are guilty of being in situations where you emotionally reacted instead of intentionally responded? And the minute that happened, like it left your tongue or you press send, you're like, ooh. You guys, high EQ, high emotional intelligence, is us fostering the ability to not let the emotions hijack our actions, not a reaction, but a response. You guys, I'm going to bring on an individual right now that's actually coming in live from Italy. He's a gentleman I've worked with over the last couple years, an amazing entrepreneur, a very successful corporate background as a prominent attorney out there in Italy for a long period of time. Now, attorney gone entrepreneur. He's a best-selling author. currently live on Amazon, and someone I've had the privilege of working with very closely through our community-based marketing brand and company in Italy over the last couple years, and someone that I look up to on his ability to keep a level head and approach every situation with emotional intelligence. And I'm glad to have him on the line all the way from Italy, and that's none other than Francesco. Francesco, are you out there, brother?
Yeah, hello, Blake. Hello, everybody.
Hey, everybody say hi to Francesco coming in from Italia. Francesco, what time is it right now out there?
It's midnight.
Midnight. You guys give it up for someone that's willing to stay on the line after midnight his time to have a conversation with us. Francesco, before I ask you for a tip, let me ask you this question. How are things in Italy? This is probably the first time a lot of the people watching right now have actually spoken to anybody that's in Italy. Everybody in the US has seen the news, right? We're seeing the stats. How are you doing? How's your family doing? How's the country doing? Give us your perspective right now on what's going on in your country.
Now I'm safe, but the situation was pretty serious. But I hope it's going to the end. So we hope we see the light.
I love it. Well, I appreciate you, brother. And for those of you guys that are hearing, Francesco's accent, I got to brag on him. Francesco really just started learning English. Francesco, how long ago did you really commit to learning English? 1 year?
Yeah.
So 1 year ago, we couldn't even communicate without a translator. And today he's on talking live to all of you in English directly in 1 year. I know some of you had quarantine goals of learning new language. It's possible. So Francesco, question over to you. Emotional intelligence, you're at a place right now where you're leading a massive community. You're in the middle and you've been on quarantine longer than all of us have in the US. You guys are going on almost a month now. Crazy time. What are you doing to keep your emotional intelligence high? And what advice would you have for everybody out there going through this crazy, unique season?
Yeah, thank you very much, Blake. I love your great definition. And I think that we can take advantage of these challenging times in order to train our emotional intelligence and make it stronger. First of all, I just used a very useful mental strategy, which is the change of focus. I decided to see this period not only for a negative perspective, but I looked at it in a positive way because I found an opportunity in it behind the difficulty. So I invite you all to pay attention to all the good things you have now in your life, your family, your house, your healthy, your internet connection that allow you to follow this conversation, for example. Be grateful for those things. Do not take them for granted, and remember to do these things also when all this mess will be over. Another thing, if I can say, Blake, we can do is train our mental flexibility. The current situation is forcing us to do things in different ways. We were not used to, but this again is a gift because it enhances our ability to change our habits in order to expand our comfort zone. Afterwards, we will be more resilient. Our perseverance will be grow, and we will reach our goals faster. Isn't a wonderful option for us? Yes or yes? Even if it seems we have a lot of time while being stuck in our houses, please don't waste it. This is my suggestion. Plan your days. Make every hour worthy. Learn a new language, maybe Italian. Practice some physical activity. Enjoy your family. Practice gratitude and kindness in order to create a positive environment in which everyone can feel accepted and blessed to be alive. As a networker, to finish, Blake, I know very well how is important to give a contribution and to add value to other people's life. In this particular moment, we should be all committed in this way of thinking, because we have more time to take the change, to call a friend or a colleague and share a good conversation, or to give suggestion, or simply to say, hey, I'm here if you are needed. As humans, we were not born to stay alone, but to share our life with other people and the possibility to help them grow. So this is my tips. If Amber, I can share with you, Blake, my brother, and all your guys that see me. Sorry for my English, but I speak.
No apologies. No apologies at all. That was amazing. Amazing.
I speak so French. If you want, I can speak in French.
Hang with me for 1 second, Francesco. Don't go yet. I know it's late. I'm keeping you up. You guys, number one, give Francesco a lot of love. 1 year speaking English and live was not only an amazing message, but empowering tips that I think all of us can learn from. So give him some love there in the chat box. You guys, I heard a couple different things, right? I heard him say, be adaptable. Because that's amazing advice right now for emotional intelligence. High EQ is someone that is adaptable and flexible. And boy, is this current situation challenging us to be adaptable. But if you are adaptable, right, you gotta let go of things you don't have control over, right? What once was is no more. The things that maybe we once did, we aren't doing. Everything is changing. We're in the middle of a shift. And if you're sitting there trying to hold on and not willing to adapt, because you're not going to make the best of the situation we're in. So if you're taking notes, I think one nugget from Francesco is be adaptable, be flexible. And what you're seeing is you're seeing people do that on a personal level. You know, like what we are doing right now. Every one of us is an example. What I love is we're seeing that happening on a, economic level, on a business level. We're seeing innovation, right, happen right now that we would not see had we not been forced, right, to rise to the occasion at this time. They say innovation, guys, rises out of necessity. Necessity is the mother of innovation. And you're seeing that. So I got to ask you guys, are you being adaptable? Are you being flexible? And are you willing to learn, right, how the new normal is operating today? I think that was a great one. I also heard gratitude, right? So gratitude and appreciating all that we have right now. And I heard, Francesco, you said like the fact that we're even using technology, like how crazy would this have been 5 years ago or 10 years ago without right at our fingertips, the tools to connect and communicate and collaborate that exist today, right? Among a million other things we can and should be grateful for. Francesco, before you go, let me ask you this. Any tips you personally do like on gratitude, on a daily basis to remind you, right? To remind yourself to stay in that? Like when you're on the brink of about to explode or about to react or you're getting negative, we all get to those points. Any tricks or tips that you use to get yourself back into high emotional intelligence?
Yeah, for me in particular, every morning when I wake up, before I stand up, I remember for what I have gratitude, and also the night before to go sleep. So this is my habits to have gratitude.
I love it. Well, I appreciate you, brother. I know it's way past midnight out there, and please stay safe, stay healthy, send your family my love, and continue to lead your community and everybody that's following your leadership out there. Thank you for all you do. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you so much. Bye. Bye from Italy. Bye-bye.
You guys give Francesco some love all the way from Italia. Man's been in quarantine almost a month and continues to just impress me by the level of leadership he's taking and how he's choosing to not just go through, but grow through this experience. Let's go ahead and go. You guys want to see another surprise guest? How about we go to another surprise guest? And I think this is going to bring a whole different energy, some other perspective, and someone that I have a ton of respect on how she approaches his situations. She's someone, guys, that is a longtime entrepreneur, built a very successful, thriving business in the dance industry. I've had a chance of working with now and launching launching a variety of brands through community-based marketing. Love her energy, love her approach. I can tell you one thing about Lindsey is she can always make you smile. She can take any situation and turn it into something where you're going to laugh and have fun. And it's an amazing, unique gift she has. She's also a best-selling author. Launched a book recently, Holy Shift. So it's all about shifting your mindset, very relevant during this time. And asked her to come on and give some hacks and some tips as well on the topic for today. Miss Curry, Lindsey Curry, you out there?
I'm here. Hi, Blake. How are you?
I'm doing great. You're like glowing. You're looking good right now.
I got dressed up just for you.
You're looking good for quarantine. I like it. I like it. Well, Lindsey, I appreciate it. I know your schedule's super hectic, and I'll throw the same question over to you. I mean, any direction you want to take it. It's a tough time. I think it's a time where EQ above all needs to be high and mindful. So tell us maybe what you're doing, maybe some tips you have, or maybe some things you can share, so we can all raise our emotional intelligence through this unique season.
Absolutely. So you guys, we're all in this state of flux. We feel like our solitude is being like assaulted. We don't have solitude right now. One moment we're like, I got this, it's fine. And then the next moment you're like in this spiral of, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. And I get it. We all have those moments. But if you can take that moment when you're at your peak and know that this too shall pass, these are just feelings, it's not reality. And do some grounding exercises, which I'm actually going to have you guys do with me today. And just to help you basically ground yourself and go, okay, you know what? I'm having a moment. This feeling is fleeting. It's not necessarily reality. I mean, even though we're in the reality of like, there's a lot of things going on and people are suffering and people are losing, and feeling the loss of things, feeling the loss of their freedom, feeling the loss of their liberties. But one thing that we have control over is how we react to those feelings. So like, Blake was saying, it's not what happens to you, it's how you react to it, it's your emotional, intelligence about it. I want to give you guys some tools and tactics that I use for myself. I'm quarantined at home. I have a brick and mortar business that I had to turn into a online business, and we're now streaming 70 classes a week for kids online. Okay, so like it's a little overwhelming. However, I'm like, wow, I'm so proud that I'm able to shift, adapt, and pivot. And I'm like, I have my book, Holy Shift. I'm like, I need to write another book called like, Let's Do the Cha-Cha-Cha, because this is like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. We're doing the cha-cha-cha. And you have to make some light of it and have some fun with it, you guys, because if you stay focused and just focus on what you cannot do and what's not going to be there and how things are going to be so drastically different and trying to predict what's going to happen in the next 3 weeks, you will literally drive yourself insane. So let's stop that today. Okay, let's shift that mindset and knowing that we're going to take it day by day. And one thing that we have right now is this exact moment. So I want you to take your energy. So everyone with me, and Blake, you too, we're going to take a big deep breath in. And this is a cleansing breath, okay? So I want you to just be in the moment. Deep breath in and blow it out. And we're grounding ourselves for a moment. One more breath. And I want you guys to sit here, take your 3 fingers, and we're going to tap on our chest. Okay? When we're tapping on our chest, this is what I do when I'm having a moment, when I'm like, I need to like bring my soul back into body because I'm living outside myself. And that's just a grounding technique. So we're tapping on our chest. And you're breathing. And you're just being in this moment. We're not thinking, what do we have to do in the next 5 minutes? You have to go to an appointment, because guess what? You're not going anywhere. You're right here. You're right now. And it's no accident of why you're watching. You needed to hear this today. And you are going to receive this to make a change in your life, or just make a change for right now. So as you're breathing and you're tapping, I want you to repeat with me. I am safe. I am well. And I am in control. I am safe. I am well. And I am in control. I am safe. I am well. And I am in control. Deep breath in. And push it out. Now, these 3 things that you're telling yourself is to remind yourself that 1, you are safe. You are confined to your home or wherever you're at right now, and you are safe right there in that moment. You are telling yourself, I am well. Because if we worry about being sick, you will worry yourself until you get sick. And you're telling yourself also, I'm in control. Because even though you feel that you are not in control, you are. Because you are in control of how you respond to the crazy spiraling that's around you. And when you take those 3 elements, knowing that I don't feel safe and I don't feel control and I don't feel well, but just those are things that are being, with the news and, people worrying about you, you're taking on other people's emotions. Let's clear those out. Let's focus on that we are safe, we are well, and we are in control. And breathing and these grounding techniques will help take the edge off of that daily burden of just life in general. So that's what I use for my grounding tips. And I've been doing that on my Instagram. I try and do them every day for people that just need a moment to take a time and say, I need to breathe with somebody. And I wanted to offer that out to all of you today. So thanks for having me on, Blake.
I love it. Lindsey, I feel better myself sitting here. I love it. The energy shifted. How many of you guys out there felt that? Like you actually just did the breathing, you tapped your chest, you created a pause. And how many of you honestly feel better having just walked through those couple minutes with Lindsey? Give me some feedback in the comments out there. Give Lindsey some feedback. That way she can see that you're receiving what she's putting out. Lindsey, I appreciate you, everything you're doing, and 70 live streams right now. It's crazy every single day. And everything you're doing, getting our brand out to the world. So love you, appreciate you. You are a light, and thanks for sharing that very simple yet profound hack with all of us today. Thank you. You guys give Lindsey some love there in the chat box. That was good. I got something out of that. You guys, I've used breathing, but the breathing combined with that simple statement, that affirmation, that mantra, and tapping your chest, those are simple tools. I'm going to add that to now my arsenal of tools as well. You guys can do that as well as a way to create a pause. So you guys, let's layer on some of the things we're talking about. So, we talked about emotional intelligence. High EQ is the ability to intentionally respond, not emotionally react. So let's build on that. When we get to a point where we think we're going to react, the first thing about high EQ is learning how to recognize that. It's being aware that we're getting to a point where we might react and do something, guys, that's not for the best outcome of ourselves or others or the situation we're in. So a couple things to highlight. Number one is you got to know yourself. You got to know your limits. Okay. You got to know where your breaking point is, right? All of us have different boiling points out there, right? Where we can keep our composure, boom, boiling point, right? And all of a sudden your emotions get the best of you. And those boiling points might be certain emotions. Those boiling points, they might be just a function of late in the day, maybe when you're tired or you're mentally exhausted. So we got to know where our boiling point or where our breaking point is so we can be mindful, right, of where we're hitting that threshold, where we might lower our EIQ, where we might react instead of respond, right? So we got to know that boiling point or know our threshold. We also got to know what are called our triggers, right? How many of you guys have ever had something, right? There was maybe a text or a comment or a word or, a person that just gets under your skin and it causes your blood to boil and it makes your emotions run rampant and you're not yourself, right? You tell yourself. You guys, those certain things are triggers. And those triggers we all have emotional triggers, and they're different for all of us. And I'm not going to get into a psychology lesson here, but they are conditioned responses based on our past references. Okay. And I'm not going to go into how we unravel all that stuff today, but I am going to go into, you got to know your triggers, right? How they're there and why they're there is less relevant, and let's just know they're there. And we got to know what triggers us and be mindful and aware of what triggers us. And again, create a pause. So Lindsey just gave you a way to create a pause at any point where you're hitting a threshold, where you got a trigger, where you feel you're going to react instead of respond, where you just need to take a moment. You guys, what Lindsey just did took 30 seconds, 60 seconds. It creates a pause. Okay. And you guys, some pauses. You may need to take a break. And when you're first getting started at this and you got lower emotional intelligence, you might need to take a day pause, right? How many of you guys have ever been so, emotionally distraught over something like you had to disconnect for a day or longer? See, we've all been there. The higher the emotional intelligence you have, the shorter the pause you need to take. But you got to start somewhere. Maybe that's days, right? Maybe it gets down to hours. Maybe eventually it gets down to 30, 60 seconds breath work and an exercise. Your goal is to take the ability for you to pause and then respond and get that gap or that time, right, down to as short as possible. The shorter the pause needed, the higher the emotional intelligence. The longer we are sucking our emotional energy or we're hijacked by our emotions, the lower the emotional intelligence. Are you guys seeing why this is so important and relevant today? Because today, guys, we're in a bunch of situations where we're in an environment for extended periods of time, maybe around people and kids for longer periods of time. We're not getting outside as much as we used to. We got less social connection, and we're being bombarded by possibly the most amount of negative news we've ever been hit with simultaneously from multiple sources in our lifetime. You guys, that's an intense environment. That's going to push people to trigger moments or threshold moments or boiling points probably faster than normal, which is even more of a reason why emotional intelligence right now, we need to be high EQ and using tips like this. You getting it? Right? Is this helping? Add some value? You guys, let's bring on one more surprise guest. And this is a younger individual, someone that I've had a chance of working with over the last couple of years and have him rise up is who I believe is just an amazing millennial leader. Someone who's wise beyond his years, has a very old soul, has been diving into personal growth and development for quite a few years now. So proud of who he's becoming as a leader, amazing things as an entrepreneur, is building an amazing community following his leadership right now. And someone, guys, that I believe has high emotional intelligence because of conversations like this and using tips and tools to allow his emotions not to get the best of him. So last surprise guest here for today, I believe we have on the line is Colton Winkelman. Colton, you out there, brother?
Yes, sir. What's going on, Blake?
What's up, brother? See, I met you when you were 18. Were you 18 when we first started talking?
Yes, sir. 5 years now.
And you just had a birthday. Was it your birthday was last week, a couple weeks ago? When was your birthday?
Yeah, the 19th. I turned 24.
24. So 6 years. It's gone like this. Love who you're becoming. Love the leadership style. Love the energy you bring to situations. And I think you're going to add value to everybody watching here. So Colton, same question back to you. We're talking emotional intelligence, crazy time. I believe our EQ now needs to be higher than ever. What are you doing, man? What are you doing that's helping yourself, right, stay leveled and rise during this time? Or any kind of tips or hacks you want to give to everybody out there that we can use and apply? You take it.
Yeah, well, not to obviously, say the same things, but, great minds do think alike. And one thing that I've been really doing this time is just being very, very, very aware, like Blake said, just the awareness state at an all-time high, because knowing that, what's the word emotion? The word emotion is energy in motion, and knowing that, our thoughts, create our reality. It's just being very, very aware in the mornings, especially because most people are just waking up and just letting, the day run them. So one of the biggest things that changed for me is just getting up way earlier, about like an hour and a half earlier. And that's something that everyone can do. And, it's me running the day, versus the day running me. And I believe that most people are run by the day. And when you get up early, and you just start that gratitude list. That's a huge hack that I do. And I heard Francesco say that. And one thing that I do differently is I have a note card. Every single morning I grab a note card and then I write down, I am so happy and grateful now that. And then I write down 10 things. And then I have that throughout the day. So when your emotions are going through this roller coaster like they are, like our humans have these crazy emotions, especially during this time, when the emotions, when you have a little bit more anxiety, when you get a little bit more negative, I pull that gratitude list out and just start reading them. And constantly, right away, instantly, it puts me in a high vibration. It puts me in a gratitude state. And that's something that we can all do. We all have the same tools, and why do people fall during this time, but how do people rise during this time? We all have the same tools, and gratitude is something that it's something that's always tossed around, but I believe it's the ultimate key, and that's something I'm doing every single morning. And one thing I do know is a leader who is capable of controlling his or her emotions, can surpass all other hurdles in business. And now more than ever, we need to really, really be aware of our emotions and understanding that every single thing that we're feeling is creating our reality. And so the gratitude list is huge. It's so funny that you guys said the pause technique. That's something that I've been doing. Like before I respond, before I text, before I speak, it's like a 1 second pause technique. So Lindsey had the tap, tap, tap. I just do 1 second and then I speak, so I don't react right away. I really, really, really become aware of 1 second, and then meditating. Focusing on your breath. People are kind of scared of that word meditation, but all it is really just focusing on your breath. So, not to say everything that everyone else has said, but them are just key. Is really focusing on your breath, really becoming aware of your thoughts and that gratitude list. Really keeping that note card. I challenge everyone to get up, an hour earlier, and to write that on a note card. 10 things you're grateful for. And when, times do get a little bit, tough, when the anxiety does kind of creep around, when you do get a little bit more negative, just pull that card out and start reading them, put a smile on your face, and pick up the phone and just start changing people's lives, because people need it more than ever right now. People are begging, for an opportunity right now. And we all have them. So that's what I got. Thank you, Blake, for having me on. And guys, we all got this. It's just making a decision to rise during this time or fall during this time. And if you just make the conscious decision to rise during this time, you will do it. So thank you, Blake.
Great tips, man. Practical. I love that. I've never actually heard anybody put it. Emotion is energy in motion. I love that. Colton, before you go, brother, one last question. I know I'm putting you on the spot. Just with everybody who's watching right now in this situation, emotional intelligence, if you had one wish that could be granted, like, let's just play, the God for a minute, came down and said, Colton, one wish that you could grant, right, for everybody right now at this point in time. I'm just curious, what wish would you ask for?
What wish would I ask for? I would wish that people just really feel the gratitude. How crazy is it that our heart is beating? Really getting deep here. Like how actually crazy is it that we're alive during this time? So many people are going to some crazy things, and we have a house that we're under. We have our heart is beating. Our brain is functioning. Like just really, really, really understanding how our human body is functioning on a daily basis. That's something that just blows my mind if you really think about it. So many things that the human body is doing to keep us going. So really just becoming aware of how crazy it is that we're alive during this time and how grateful it is to be alive during this time. And it comes back to the word grateful. So really, really, really being grateful that we're alive, we're healthy, we're breathing, and we have a chance to change people's lives, through our voice, through social media.
I love it, brother. Amazing answer. I appreciate you, your level of leadership and great value. Thank you for joining us here today. And you guys, how's that for an amazing wish, right? Everybody just actually pause for a moment and be grateful for everything that we have. And I think that fits right into the topic that we're talking about here today when it comes to emotional intelligence. So a couple things, guys, before we round out. Let me check in with all of you on the feed here. Tell me some nuggets, right? Go ahead and throw me a comment. What's something that you've gotten from Colton, or something you took from Lindsey, or something you got from Francesco, that not just you're going to receive, but you're going to receive and you're going to make your own. You can actually apply. Give me some comments there below. Colton, I asked about the wish for the world, and I know this live isn't going to reach the world, but this live can change the world one person at a time if all of us guys apply what we're learning to be a lighthouse, be an impact. And here's the thing: you apply it by receiving it and then sharing it and then teaching it. And as silly as it sounds, guys, that's how this works. It starts with one person making one decision and not just going out there and keeping it to themselves, but sharing it with the world. And we can all do that. I love the 1 second pause that Colton said. All right. And he said, 1 second before he responds, or he said before he replies to a text. I'm going to take that a step further, guys. Make this a cardinal rule. Never have highly charged emotional conversations in text. It is a bad idea, okay? It never ends well, okay? Text messages, guys, is missing 93% of communication. Guys, communication, studies have been done that say communication is only 7% our words. The other 93% is a combination of our body language or physiology and our tonality. You are missing your physiology and tonality when you're texting. You're only communicating with 7%. That's why so much stuff gets misunderstood. Texting emotionally. Charged conversations is the number one way to make sure you get misunderstood. You can't control the receiver on the other end. You can't control the state they're in. You can't control how they're going to perceive what you're writing. It's a bad idea. So I would just remove that off the list. High EQ, all right? Texting is great for informing. It's great for fun. It's great for communicating. It is not great for emotionally charged conversations. I would scratch that off the list. A couple other things that just kind of highlight, guys, themes that we talked about here today. We got to find common ground. Emotional intelligence, high EQ, means we can approach a situation and find alignment, find common ground with individuals. Now more than ever, with so many polarizing conversations, polarizing opinions, people scrounging for information, we got to start with finding common ground. High emotional intelligence focuses on facts. High emotional intelligence does not overgeneralize. We do not make small things bigger than they are. We don't globalize, issues. We talk about specific facts, narrowed down to the fact at hand. Right now, we're in a state right now where there's polarizing conversations, hyperbole, we're exaggerating. And I don't want to minimize the situation, but we got to address the situation for what it is and not make it bigger than it is. We got to maintain mutual respect. High emotional EQ maintains mutual respect. How do we do that? We put ourselves in the other person's shoes. Guys, the emotion there is called empathy. Come from an empathetic heart. Figure out where the other person, right, that you're experiencing a frustration with, why do they have that? Where is that coming from? Why do they see it that way? Guys, find common ground, look through their eyes and build from there. One of my former mentors, the late, great, legendary coach, John Wooden, he always said, Blake, it's not about who's right, it's what's right. And you guys, now more than ever, it's not about who's right. It's about what's right and constantly doing the right thing at this time. This is high EQ. We're all going to get to a point where we're frustrated. We're all going to hit that trigger. We're all going to hit a boiling point. We're going to. And you guys, this isn't about feeling guilty when you hit that point. It's about bringing a level of awareness, right? So that way we recognize it, giving you tips and tools and hacks on how to respond to it so you can raise your EQ. Okay. And when it comes to communicating emotions, guys, there's nothing wrong with that. But here's my tip on communication when it comes to emotion. Explain how you feel. Don't attack a person, right? Don't try to offer necessarily a perspective. Start with, this is how I feel. Guys, you can't argue with how someone feels. And if you start explaining how you feel, you can get to the root of why you feel that way, right? And address the issue, attack the problem, not the person. Guys, these are simple hacks that can help with high EQ. As we round out, a couple other things to remember. You guys, this is all about not just going through, but growing through quarantine. It's about getting better. And part of the ways that we get better is constant feedback. So high EQ also means that we're willing to, make a mistake, admit a mistake. We're never perfect, but take that feedback so that way we can grow. It's not about criticism. It's about feedback. You guys use every piece of feedback you get. You can't all be positive. If you only get feedback of what you're doing right, you're never going to know what you can do better, guys. So it's not about criticism. It's about feedback. So those are a couple tips, guys, I wanted to highlight that were themes that I heard throughout the conversations of our guests today. You tell me one thing you got from today that you're instantly going to apply. Drop it in the comment, right? We have a gift that we can share to the world. If there's someone that comes to your heart, they can get value from this, tag them below. Or if you want to, just click share, right? Share, that way we can build the audience and get more people raising their EQ and being those lighthouses at this time. And you guys, I'll close out with this. We're taught all our life to have high academic intelligence, right? We've been ingrained that our grades are so important for the first 18 years of our life, or, our GPA, or how smart we are. And you guys, all that stuff can get you to a certain place or a certain level in life. But I'll tell you this, emotional intelligence, EQ, is far more important when it comes to the level of living you'll get to than academic intelligence, guys. The level of living we will all get to, level of success, level of happiness, level of fulfillment along the way, will be directly proportionate to the level of emotional intelligence we choose to build within ourselves. I'll end with what Colton gave us all today. Emotions are energy in motion. It's our power and it's also our weakness. Okay, but it's our power if we learn not to react and respond, and we use to point that energy in a positive direction for the best outcome of others and ourselves. And hopefully today's conversation will help you guys go to just the next level in that direction of EQ. I got to wrap, guys. Love you. Appreciate you. Look forward to reading all the comments out there. We'll see y'all soon. Stay safe, stay sane, stay high EQ. And hey, if you feel like you want to share the gift, please go ahead and press share. We're all wrapped. Thank you guys very much. Hey guys, one last thing. I'm super excited that this new podcast, The Live by Design, just went live, and I want to celebrate by giving away $500 cash to 5 lucky winners over the first 5 weeks. You see, I designed the show to bring you inspired thoughts and fascinating conversations with the world's most impactful people, to provide transformative principles and practices to help you wake up, move toward your meant to, and feel fully alive. And I'd love for you to help me spread the word now. So to enter the giveaway, follow 3 simple steps. Step 1, simply subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on this platform right now. Step 2, find this giveaway video post on my Instagram @BlakeMallon or my Facebook or LinkedIn profile and share it to your Instagram story or your Facebook and LinkedIn profile. When all done, simply comment "alive" and tag 3 friends on that same post. Weekly winners will be chosen randomly and announced publicly on my Instagram and Facebook story each of the first 5 Saturdays after launch. Would really appreciate your support, so if I've ever given you value, please do me this personal favor and go subscribe now. And if you found today's episode helpful in any way, make sure you share this with at least one friend today. You have the power right now to change someone's day. So send them a text message with a link to alivebydesign.com, or simply copy and paste the link right from this podcast platform. Who's one person you know right now that you want to see succeed, that you want to see grow, that you want to see feel more alive? Shoot them a text with your largest takeaway from today and be a light in their day. And if you were referred here by a friend, make sure you shoot them a text back and say thank you. I'd love to hear from you directly on what you got from today's podcast. So if you're up for it, drop by my Instagram @BlakeMallon and shoot me a DM. And as always, thank you for showing up. I'm grateful for you. And I hope our time together today in some small way helped you feel a little more alive. Until next time.